ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Tech Showdown. My name is Kevin. This is my co-host Teddy, and today we're talking about another gaming mouse. This is going to be the ROCCAT Tyon Laser Gaming Mouse. So before we start this video, I want to ask you guys a question, just to get some feedback, and I love hearing back from the fans. So my question today for you guys is, what monitor are you currently running? So what resolution is it, what refresh rate if it's a high refresh rate monitor, and how many of them do you have? So do you have just a single 1080p sort of standard monitor like I do? Do you have a single 1440p, maybe a 4K one, or are you running dual monitors or even triple monitors? Let me know down in the comments section. I always like to hear back from you guys. Anyway, let's jump into this mouse review of the ROCCAT Tyon then. So let's first talk about the key specs of this guy. So sensor-wise, it's coming with an 8200 DPI laser sensor, Pro-Aim laser sensor, which is quite cool. Not seeing as many laser sensors now, but yeah, they obviously do still have a place in the market. It's also coming with 1000 Hz polling rate, kind of what we'd expect. It's coming with RGB lighting, as you can see around these sides here and up on the scroll wheel. It's coming with 14 mouse buttons. 14, and this isn't a specifically, this isn't made just for MMO gamers. This is made as kind of like a general gaming mouse, general-ish gaming mouse, although it is kind of somewhat aimed towards MMO, but also towards FPS gamers. It's also coming with a 32-bit processor and 576 kilobytes of memory. I haven't said that for a while. Which is quite good, so that means it can save your settings if you're going to be taking this around with you, or using it on multiple computers or on your laptop or something like that. Now let's first talk about the design then with this guy. So design wise, you can see already it's black and grey. It has the ROCCAT name up on the sort of middle left, and then the ROCCAT cat, maybe, is that what it is? Down at the bottom right. Yeah, so it's pretty dull. The RGB does spice it up. It seems to be, this is common these days in the sense that they want to make it color neutral and then add the RGB so it goes with everything. So I do understand that. With the lighting off, it is very dull. The design seems okay. It's not like repulsive, but it's not that attractive either to me. It seems like they just went a little bit overboard with putting all the buttons on it. And you could say, well, that goes for all MMO mice. They all look like, especially the ones that have the numpads on the side and stuff. That's cool, and I understand that. But as I said just before, this isn't specifically aimed at it. At least that's what I got from what they'd said about it. So yeah, it's just a little bit, for a general gaming mouse, just a little bit overwhelming for me. But overall, I think it's okay looks-wise. I'll put it that way. It just seems a little bit odd to me. That's all. However, looks don't count for that much at the end of the day. What about comfort? So it is quite a large gaming mouse, that's for sure. It's made for right hand only, so sorry if you're left-handed. And also, if you have smaller hands, you might not find this particularly comfortable, given that it is quite large. So it's generally better for those of you who have sort of medium-sized hands or large hands like me. Now, the design-wise, it certainly feels like quite enormous in the hand, but it also feels quite ergonomic at the same time. It has a nice indent here for your thumb on the left-hand side, and also on the right-hand side too. So it does feel very ergonomic. It feels nice in the hand. Weight-wise, they pretty much got it perfect, which is, uncommon. A lot of times they feel too light to me or too heavy. This is more personal preference, but weight-wise, I thought it was very, very good there. And overall, as someone that has a lot of wrist trouble, I'd been using this quite often, and I felt it to be very comfortable, and I had no real major complaints when it came to comfort. So yeah, it does a really good job in terms of comfort. Now let's move on to the sensor then. That 8200 DPI laser sensor. So it has a heap of adjustment, as you would expect, being 8200 DPI, which is really good. As far as laser sensors go, it's probably... Corsair's ones are pretty good, but this one's probably the best that I've tested out of all the laser sensors. However, I still feel like an optical sensor would have been better. My main reason for that, and again this is more personal preference, is that I found this one just felt a little bit off. I was making misclicks where it really shouldn't be, and it wasn't the fact that the DPI or whatever was set at the wrong settings. It was set at the standard, what I usually like to run, which is between 2,500 and 3,000-ish. I had it set up just the way I liked it. I played around with the adjustments like crazy, and I just couldn't get it quite right for me. So I think maybe an optical sensor would have been a little bit better. The main benefit of a laser sensor is it doesn't really matter what surface you're using it on. It'll still, have quite good performance. But yeah, it still does a pretty good job though for a laser sensor, and I really quite liked it. It would be very, very good for a first-person shooter type gamer who likes to run quite high DPI settings. But yeah, I think it's the best laser sensor I've tested, but it's definitely it's not the best sensor by far that I've tested. We'll put it that way. Now, buttons and the scroll wheel. So we'll start off with the scroll wheel, and it felt pretty good, but it's a bit on the heavy side for my taste. So some people might like that, but when you're scrolling through a lot of stuff, you'll tend to find that it is quite heavy compared to other gaming mice out there. The left and right click are absolutely fantastic. Yeah, I had no complaints. Nice amount of control, really nice tactile feel to them, and I just thought they were great. Now, the rest of the buttons, this video will take forever if we go over them all in detail, so I'll just give you a quick idea. So you have these 4 buttons on either side beside the left and right mouse click. That's pretty standard there. One's for the adjustment of the DPI, and you could set the other one up for whatever you like. You have this fin here, they're calling the dorsal fin on the back there, behind the scroll wheel. That's a left and right click. That could be useful. I think it's more aimed for FPS gamers, so that's quite good if you're on, say, like a turret or something and you could move it left and right. Over to the side you have this little switch up here which kind of goes up and down. That's, I think, very specific as well. That'll be for your FPS gamers too, although your use case will be different for each person. It's got a front and forward and back mouse click buttons like normal, and you also got a click here down for your thumb at the bottom of the thumb rest there. Overall, I think it's a little bit overwhelming. Although all the buttons work very well, some of them are quite awkwardly placed to use. Like the fin on the back here is a little bit awkward to use, and the forward and back buttons are okay. They might have been a little bit better from my hands if they were a little bit further forward. However, it still does a pretty good job, and I don't really have any big complaints to do with the buttons. I just think that maybe they could have revised the layout a little bit, and they are very, very game specific, so you'd have to really know what you're going to be using them for. Now let's talk about the software, and if I had to sum it up in one word, it would be overwhelming. I mean, you're never going to run out of, it's not going to, yeah, the best way to put it is you're never going to run out of things to do in the software. Like, you're like, oh, I wish I could adjust this, or I wish I could adjust that. You're going to have that problem. However, just to do simple things, it feels too complicated to use. It's very reminiscent of Corsair's software, which is just way, way, way too complicated, and you almost have to read the manual in order to use it. Yeah, so I thought it was just too complicated. It's really slow for me anyways, like to open up and stuff. So that was strange as well. But yeah, I didn't really like it, and the software was probably the biggest letdown in general with this mouse. It was just really, really, it could be revised, and it definitely could be made a lot simpler. Which brings us now to the conclusion, and what do I make of the ROCCAT Tyon then? So, as always, I try aim this at the general user out there. So they're playing a wide variety of games, just like I do, and they want a good general gaming mouse that'll get them by for everything. And for that, I would say it's only okay. It's quite a mixed bag with this gaming mouse. You're getting really sort of okay-ish looks mixed with great comfort, with a sensor I only think is good mixed with, too many buttons, I find, for this. So for the general gamer, I would say it's okay. However, for those specific users out there that are mainly playing MMO and FPS games, like those are the main games you are playing, then I would really consider this guy. And you're the ones that really need to be considering it. Just think about what uses you could have for the buttons and if they would really apply to you and make your gaming experience better. And if they are, then yes, then I could recommend it to you just fine because you're actually going to use the buttons. So that's how I'm going to conclude it. If you're going to actually take advantage of the huge amount of programmable buttons on this mouse, then yeah, I would recommend it. However, if you're not, then I probably wouldn't. And price-wise, it is quite expensive as well, so you also need to take that into consideration. I would almost go as far as saying it is overpriced. So maybe wait till it goes on special or something like that and then pick it up. But that's probably the best way I can sum up my review for this gaming mouse. Now I thank you all for watching this video. Please subscribe to Tech Showdown if you haven't already and like the video. And as always, I'll see you guys next time.